Good day. Our topic for today is all about social equity. But first, we should know the difference between equity and equality. Although both promote fairness, equality achieves this through treating everyone the same regardless of needs, while equity achieves this through treating people differently dependent of need. Now we move on to what social equity is. Social equity is a state of affairs in which all people within a specific society or isolated group have the same status in certain respects, including civil rights, freedom of speech, property rights, and equal access to social goods and services. The spirit and habit of justice, fairness, and ethical conduct that will govern the relationship between men and women, the law of doing to all others what we wish them to do us. Social justice is the fair care to which we are entitled by virtue of being individual. And our second problem is the unequal treatment of public administrators or the administration itself to the group of minorities in our society. Charles Darwin famously remarked in the 19th century, "If the misery of the poor be caused not by the laws of nature, but by our institutions, great is our sin." Governments at all levels in part are responsible for many of the glaring inequalities we see today and should therefore lead the way to solutions. Public policies adopted over time at the federal, state, and local levels have created and exaggerated many of the inequalities that our communities are struggling today. Inequalities to the group of minorities threaten the well-being of their region and the nation. Division by race, class, and geography have decreased access to much-needed jobs, adequate health care, affordable housing, and quality education. Next is the inequality undermines trust and community. It renders government vulnerable to special interests seeking to maximize short-term profit. Inequality, especially rising inequality, promotes status competition, social divisiveness, and weakens the will of the many to organize to defend common interests against the specialized interests of the few. Inequality corrodes social bonds, erodes friendship, diminishes civic participation, and attenuates trust in governments. And lastly, the inequality is not only about racial issues but to gender and to sexual orientation. Federal law prohibits employment discrimination based on race, nationality, sex, or religion. They discriminate or degraded because of what they are. And finally, how to address the problem. The administrator should adopt the principle each person is to have an equal right to the most extensive system of equal basic liberties compatible with a similar system of liberty of all. To establish ethical guidelines by which to treat citizens based not just on altruism but rather a sense of fraternity and human bond. I remembered what we studied in Understanding the Self. John Locke, who believed that individuals are moral equals in nature. If the moral stance states that all humans are entitled to this sense of fairness and equality in treatment and access, then it follows that barriers to such equality should be moral concern. The government should care and indeed must care. The government must be the first to promote equality. They are the model, so they should be good enough. Next is the administrators themselves must be educated and trained on the topic of equality. In order to analyze systems and policies for disparate impacts and barriers to access and to seek alternative policies options, the curriculum within public administration programs should endorse the importance of examining issues of public ad and policy using an equity framework, examining equity from the perspectives of access, quality, procedural fairness, and outcomes.